Well, welcome back, everyone, to our Beatitude small group curriculum. We're so glad that you're with us in your different groups. And, congratulations. You've made a couple weeks together. And a big thank you to those who are hosting or facilitating. Thank you for opening up your homes and giving of your time. We truly believe that small group Bible studies is an integral part of the church. And so we don't take those contributions lightly, as well as those who are attending your time. So thank you very much. And so we've come as far now as the Beatitude that I think often is the most misconceived one. Week 4 here is blessed are the meek. Now, usually people associate meekness with weakness, right? If somebody's meek, well, they're lacking, okay? Maybe they're insecure, okay? Maybe they have some fear, some anxiety. That's what it means to be meek, right? Said who? Meekness is not weakness, okay? There are benefits to being meek, and then we'll talk about what meekness is. But think about some of the benefits of meekness, and this is seen throughout the scripture. Psalm 22:6 tells us that meekness is beneficial for satisfaction. When you are a meek person, it brings satisfaction to your life. Psalm 25:9, it says that it ushers in guidance. Proverbs 11:2, wisdom. Isaiah 29:19, fresh joy. Zephaniah 2:3, protection. So there's a beneficial nature to meekness. So then what is meekness? Okay, let me give you a definition of meekness that we've thrown around for years here at the church. Think of meekness this way. Meekness isn't weakness. On the contrary, meekness is my power under God's control. Let me repeat that. Meekness is my power, my prerogatives, what I want to do. Instead of me doing it for me, I'm going to put it under God's control. Now, last time I checked, that's not easy, right? Would you agree with that? It's not easy to live under God's control. It's not easy to say no to temptation sometimes. It's not easy to maybe go by faith instead of our feelings, to go by what our conviction is in the faith than what might feel comfortable. And so on the contrary, meekness is not weakness. Meekness really is strength. I think it takes a strong person to be meek. And so there are benefits to this, Nate, this practice, this beatitude, this pathway of happiness, if you will. And so here's the principle, and don't miss this. I know we have the word healthy here for a reason. Healthy are the meek, for they shall enjoy the benefits of self-control. When you're living under God's control, you're going to exhibit in your life the fruit of the Spirit of self-control. Oh boy, self-control is so needed in this life. For you and I to reach the goals and dreams that we have, well, people talk about self-discipline. You know what comes before self-discipline? Self-control. You can't be disciplined if you're not first self-controlled. Okay, you want to get through certain habits that you might be struggling with? Well, guess what? Self-control. You want to be the type of person that you need to be for your family. Maybe you're married and the husband or wife you need to be, or the kid you need to be, the parent you need to be, the friend you need to be, the sibling, or you're waiting for God to bless you with that perfect person you think. Well, guess what? Nobody's perfect. But if you're pursuing living a life of self-control, a life of meekness, you'll be the best version of yourself for that person, and you should seek the same. So healthy are the meek, not weak are the meek, healthy are the meek, happy are the meek, okay? That's our meekness principle here, our week 4 principle. Now, to illustrate that for us, I want to take you to the Old Testament. And in our short time together, I want to quickly go through a story about one of the most famous characters really in all the world, okay, but certainly in the Bible, and that's Moses. And you might recall Moses had some siblings, and we're going to hear about really what looks like some sibling rivalry here and some domestic trouble. So let's take a look here at Numbers chapter 12, and we'll see a great illustration of meekness, and then we'll be done. Starting in verse 1 of chapter 12, this is what we read. Miriam, who was Moses' sister, and Aaron, his brother, spoke against Moses. Big surprise, siblings speaking against each other. And now it says this, because of the Cushite woman whom he had married, for he had married a Cushite woman. So it mentions that twice. And they said, has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also? And we'll say and go through what the last part of this opening verse is, but don't miss this. They're saying that the reason for their speaking up against Moses has to do with the person that he chose to marry. And sometimes families do stick their noses in places that they don't need to, and it causes a lot of problems. But I don't think that's what's really going on here. I really don't think they, in the big picture, care about who he's marrying. They more care about the fact that Moses has become, God's mouthpiece, a reluctant mouthpiece at that, okay? But he axed out, and obviously God had his brother help, but he's been somewhat of a reluctant leader, we see in the beginning, but by this juncture, he is the quote-unquote leader, okay? And there seems to be some jealousy here. And instead of living under God's control and respecting God's order, they're what you call right now out of bounds, okay? Because God gives us margins. He gives us boundaries to live in. And when we live outside of those boundaries, well, that's certainly not living under his control. Because look at the last part of this verse says, and the Lord heard it. Okay? The Lord heard it. He heard this conversation, okay? And he hears it all, and I think they wanted him to hear it. I think that part of their intent was, kind of like when somebody's having a conversation and they speak a little louder so the other person could hear it. I think some of that's going on here because there's some jealousy here. Moses is the man. How come God isn't using us? Well, God has used them, okay? They've been an integral part of God's plan and how he has delivered the people out of Egyptian captivity. And so we can learn here, if we're going to be a meek people, here's the first principle. Set God-approved boundaries for everything, okay? Set God-approved boundaries for everything. You want to have God-approved boundaries in your life, and you want to do that with people. Look what it says in 1 Peter 2:17. Respect whoever you think. No, respect everyone and love the family of believers. Fear God and respect the king. We got to have a respect in how we treat people. So here it is right here. Relational boundaries equals respect others, spiritual boundaries, revere God. So I want to respect people and I want to revere God. Okay. Let's see how this plays out here. Verses 3 and 5. Now the man Moses, look what the Bible says, was very meek. This is what the Bible says about him. The Bible calls him very meek, more than all the people who are on the face of the earth. So when you pursue meekness, you're in good company. And suddenly the Lord said to Moses and to Aaron and to Miriam, come out, you three, to the tent of the meeting. And the three of them came out, verse 5, and the Lord came down in a pillar of a cloud and stood at the entrance of the tent and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forward. Now, God calls the three of them out, but only two are told to step forward. Not Moses, because Moses is meek, because Moses is doing what's right. Notice that. Being meek is doing what is right. People go, I want to do what is right. I want righteousness. That's righteousness, being meek. So write this second principle down. Focus on acting right over being right. They want to be right. I think a small percentage about who Moses married. That's a small percentage of this. They want to be right about that. They want to be right about who God is speaking through. Why not us, okay? They're so focused on being right, they stopped acting right. That's a dangerous place to be. And so meekness helps us to correct that. It goes on to say now in verse 6 through 8 of chapter 12, and God said, hear my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak with him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak mouth to mouth. How beautiful is that? God had a relationship with Moses like no other. Why? Moses was meek. You see, people want to have a better prayer life, and they'll read books and they'll spend money for this and that and listen to that. You want to have a better prayer life? Be meek. You want to conquer old habits that get the best of you? Be meek. You want God to trust you with more leadership? Be meek. It's right here before us. With him I speak mouth to mouth clearly and not in riddles, and he beholds the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Wow. I mean, look what God doing here. God's putting his arm around Moses saying, you don't talk about my man like that. Because God favors the meek, okay? And then he wants to do that in our life. You know, if you're living out of control, well, again, we're going to reap what we're sowing there, as we said in the very beginning of the Beatitudes here. That's what it's reminding us of here. And so write this third principle down. God favors faithfulness over flamboyance. There was kind of this flamboyant macho-ness to really this whole conversation that's taking place. You know, this idea that they know better than God's man, Moses, that they even know better than God. And you don't want to carry yourself that way. You don't want to have that level of pride. And really, a number of these Beatitudes speak against that, doesn't it? And so, what then do we need to do? Well, let's read a little bit more here before we wrap up. It says this in Numbers 12, 9 through 10, including 13. It says, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed. And when the cloud removed from over the tent, behold, Miriam was a leper, okay? She was leprous. Talk about a judgment. And verse 13, and Moses said, good for her. No, that's not what Moses said. Why would he say that, right? He's meek. Look what it says. And Moses cried to the Lord, oh God, please heal her, please. You know, this is a manual for how to have, really it's a manual, an instruction manual for relationships with siblings. I mean, some siblings just can't get along because they're too selfish. Why? Because they're not living under God's control. Look at Moses. Moses has been wronged. They've talked about Moses and who he married. They talked about Moses, that he's God's man. And you would think Moses would be going, yeah, God, leper. And don't forget Aaron, God, get him next, okay? He doesn't do that. Lord, please heal her. And we know how God responded to this prayer. But healthy are the meek, for they shall enjoy the benefits of self-control. Moses had God's grace on him. Obviously, it's all by God's sovereign hand. We all know that. But there is a human responsibility in our relationship with the Lord. And, you know, when you talk about walking by faith and not by sight, well, walking by faith, what does that mean? It means having God-approved boundaries. It means acting right over trying to be right with everybody in every argument, okay? It means that I'm going to be faithful over anything else. And then finally, this last principle, write it down. It means that I'm going to trust God's control over my circumstances. I'm going to trust that God has a plan, that God has me where he needs me. It's not about me, it's about him. It's about his will. And I'm going to be a support like God's called me to be to his plan. I'm going to seek first his kingdom, not my kingdom, his kingdom. And I'm going to trust that all that is needed will be provided, added unto me. And so meekness is not weakness. On the contrary, meekness is symbolic of great strength, great focus. And make no mistake about it, meekness will yield for you a harvest of blessing, like these other Beatitudes. Healthy are the meek, for they shall enjoy the benefits of self-control. May God bless you, and may he give you extra strength to live under his leadership and his control. We'll see you next time.